Hey, Alfred here, host of The Official. We bring you the recruiting news and notes and rankings all throughout the year. And what I'm going to be doing here in this offseason is highlighting some guys who were freshmen going into their second year. But because we do this in recruiting, we kind of know some of these players really well and can spot the ones that have that trajectory going forward. And today, I'm going to talk about a receiver who is flying under the radar right now, but is a guy who could probably be a wide receiver one in CFF in 2024. More after the intro. All right. Of course, we're talking about Devin McEwen, wide receiver from UTSA. This is a guy everyone on the official was in on leading into the season. We kind of talked about him multiple different times through the recruiting process and had an eye on him at UTSA. But unlikely to be drafted in many of your C2C leagues, even unlikely to be rostered in many of your C2C leagues headed into 2024. But we need to change that. McEwen's 6 feet, 180 pounds. Again, he is at UTSA. And this guy was 92nd ranked athlete on 24/7. On3 had him a lot higher, and now that's looking very smart. He was the 19th ranked athlete on On3. Another reason he may have gotten overlooked in many places is he was not listed as a wide receiver during the recruiting process. But he took the wide receiver room kind of by the horns in 2023, jumping right in, despite the fact UTSA was returning a lot of snaps, and became the second leading receiver in receptions, third leading receiver in yards, posting 42, 546, and 3 as a true freshman. Now, one reason we liked him going into this whole process, Matt and David put him at 14th on the 2023 freak list. He had a 21.4 miles per hour documented on the field, which put him top 30 in all receivers for the 2023 class. He also had a 42-inch vert and was a 96th percentile size adjusted athlete. So we know he's got the athleticism. He was a little bit raw, listed as an athlete. He played both ways. And so a little bit of a project potentially, but the fact that he went on the field so early means he's probably more refined as a receiver than we originally thought. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from 2023 before we get into the 2024 outlook. So right here, you've got his first touchdown of the season against Army, and that's the backup QB for UTSA. Throwing to a wide open McEwen, you can see he's got a lot of separation there, and that'll be kind of the story on a lot of these clips. Here, another play with some separation. The ball's way underthrown, so he gets tackled. But that's not really his fault. He had yards open, tons of grass between him and the defender. You've got another play here, fighting through some contact. He certainly is open by many standards, not by yards and yards and yards, but made a contested catch there. And then wide open here, because you'll see on the next angle that he puts the defender on his heels. The defender falls over, and he does use a little touch there to kind of push him. This was a touchdown. They did not call it back for offensive pass interference, if that's what you were wondering. But these were some of the highlights from his 2023 season. And Devin McEwen goes into 2024 looking like he might be the wide receiver one at UTSA. They lost their top two receivers from this year in yards, and McEwen was third. And then they gained two receivers in the portal, but those are probably going to be depth pieces. The two receivers they gained were DJ Allen, who, despite being a big name in many recruiting circles, has 2 receptions for a total of 10 yards in 2 years at TCU. Now he's going to UTSA. JJ Sparkman, another player, but he has put up 23, 245, and 3 in his 4 years at Texas Tech. Now, they may find some late career resurgence at UTSA, but it looks to me like McEwen's going to walk in as the alpha, and with good reason, for UTSA in 2024. Now, why is that important? Well, since Frank Harris took over as the quarterback for UTSA, they have had one of the most explosive offenses in all of college football. Frank Harris is gone now, exhausting all of his eligibility, but this offense should still be good. And looking at the history, we've got reason to be excited. In wide receiver one in 2021 went 81, 10, 27, and 12. Wide receiver one in 2022 went 94, 11, 36, and 15. And finally, wide receiver one for this team in 2023, 89, 11, 51, and 10. Now, even if You back down on those totals because Frank Harris is not leading the offense anymore. You're still looking at a very strong startable wide receiver in many CFF formats. And should McEwen slide into this volume role and get 80 plus receptions, push 1,000 yards and flirt with double digit touchdowns, you're looking at a wide receiver one for college fantasy. And this guy is not rostered. I think 1% of leagues on Fantrax. He probably was not even drafted in C2C leagues, definitely not drafted in redraft CFF. And maybe probably not in CFF Dynasty just because he was a G5 guy and they were returning a lot of players. And he didn't ever, have a huge game because there were not injuries. He did all of that with the rest of the receiving room healthy, which is very impressive. And so he walks into this room over the spring and getting all the reps with QB1. This guy is primed to be a CFF stud. And then, of course, you're going to get 2024. That should be excellent. He may level up to P5 after that, which starts getting some NFL buzz. And if he takes over on a P5 roster in 2025, then you're looking at even more upside into the NFL from there. So a lot to like about Devin McEwen. Get him now. Enjoy the next 2 to 3 years. And you may even have a future NFL guy because we know the athleticism is there. He can hang with the best athletes in the country. It's a matter of, can he refine and become a nuanced full wide receiver, which we have every reason to believe that is the track he's at least on at this point, given what he did as a true freshman. So stick with us. We're going to do some more of these super sleepers, freshmen that broke out. A lot of them we had an eye on going into the season, and then they really blossomed as true freshmen. And we're going to look forward to seeing what they can do later. This has been Alfred for C2C.